With the New York Giants officially eliminated from playoff contention following the loss of the Philadelphia Eagles, I wanted to kind of shift the focus of this channel to the offseason because this is a big offseason for the New York Football Giants. It's going to be the third offseason for Brian Daboll as the Giants head coach and for Joe Schoen as the general manager, and that's the time the real evaluation starts. So before we look at other outside free agency targets, trade targets, draft targets, let's focus what the Giants have on this roster, and let's talk about the 22 free agents that they are going to have to make decisions on. And there are some big-time players on this list. Guys like Adoree Jackson, Saquon Barkley, A'Shawn Robinson's had a good year. They'll have to make a difficult decision on Raheem Nunez-Roches and his contract. Xavier McKinney, Jihad Ward has been there the last 2 years. A legend in Giants world, Sterling Shepard. You got Ben Bredeson. You have some tough decisions to make. So in today's video, we're going to roll through all 22 players that are free agents for the Giants, and I'm going to tell you which guys should stay and which guys should go. The biggest decision the Giants are going to have to make is on Saquon Barkley and what they're going to do for him. If I am Joe Schoen, I am franchise tagging Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon is an elite player in this league, but I think he plays the least important position in this league. He plays a position where the success is determined on the success of the offensive line. No matter how good Saquon Barkley is, if he has nowhere to run, he will not be successful. And look, the facts are the facts. 99% of running backs through the history of the NFL get worse as they get older. And Saquon Barkley is still getting older. He's going to be 27 in the offseason. That means he's 2 seasons away from being, maybe 2 or 3, I'm bad at math, 3 seasons away from being 30. And as good as he is, I hate to say this because it feels like I'm being a hater when I say this. Saquon Barkley has proven one thing throughout his career, outside of being great. He's an injury-prone running back. Missed 3 or 4 more games this year due to a high ankle sprain. I'm not paying a running back, no matter how good he is, that is 27 years old, a long, guaranteed contract. I'd franchise tag him this year, and this may sound effed up too. If he played good again, I'd franchise tag him again. What would you do, though? I want to hear from you. I'm franchise tagging Saquon Barkley for $12 million. What about you? What about you? Type R for re-sign. That means you're going to give him multi-years with guaranteed money greater than just 1 season. Are you going to franchise tag him? Type F. Or if you want to tag and trade him, type T for trade. I want to hear from you. Another big decision the Giants are going to have to make is on veteran cornerback Adoree Jackson. Signed that 3-year, $39 million deal with the Giants a couple of seasons ago. He said to Ryan Dunleavy, that a Giants insider, that he wants to return to the Giants. For me, I'm only giving him a 1-year deal. If Adoree Jackson wants to come back on a 1-year, $8, $9, $10 million deal, sure, I'm in. But I'm not giving him multi-years, and I'm not giving him a lot of guaranteed money. He's had some good games. He's had some bad games. 1-year deal with a little bit of prove-it money, or you can let him walk. Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback. I'm going to let Tyrod Taylor walk. I think going forward, the Giants need to have a more reliable quarterback at the backup position. And I don't mean play, because I think when Tyrod Taylor plays, he's one of the best backups in this league. But he misses too much time. He's continuously hurt, whether that be his fault or unfortunate injuries, which have been the story of his career. I would like a younger, cheaper, more durable option at that backup quarterback. Isaiah Simmons. I'm going to re-sign Isaiah Simmons. I'm not going to break the bank for him. I'd give him 2 years, $7 million, 3 years, $10 million. Low salary, but I think he's a good player. And I think he's getting better and better as the season goes on. He's athletic. I like his versatility. And I think he's a good fit with Wink Martindale. But I'm not so sure Wink will be the DC here, so maybe you don't even factor that into your decision-making unless he is. I think Simmons is a good player. I'm not going to break the bank for him, but I would re-sign him. A'Shawn Robinson. I'd bring him back. I have been thoroughly impressed with what A'Shawn Robinson has done at that defensive tackle position. I believe he's one of the best run stoppers in this league, and you really haven't noticed much of a difference between him and Leonard Williams. You're not getting the pass rush that the big cat used to bring you, number 99 for the Giants, Leonard Williams. But A'Shawn Robinson is a good rotational DT, and if he is your third defensive tackle, first DT off the bench, you're going to be pretty good in that room. Paris Campbell will be a free agent, and he will not be back with the Giants. He has been a healthy scratch the past couple of weeks, and it sucks because I do believe in the player Paris Campbell. The film for him with Indianapolis was good. Had some big-time plays. just didn't work out for the Giants for whatever reason. Look, no one on the Giants offense has looked that good this year. They're last in almost every statistical category across the league. So I think Paris Campbell is one and done with the Giants. I would let him walk. This one is a little bit interesting. Raheem Nunez-Roches. He was signed by the Giants on day one of NFL free agency. And technically, he's not a free agent. He just has a potential out. The Giants could opt out of Raheem Nunez-Roches' contract after this season, which would make his contract 1 year, $5.5 million, and he would carry a $2.8 million dead cap hit. Or you could just keep him and have a $2.8 million dead cap hit. I would keep him. I would keep Nacho. I like him and A'Shawn Robinson as my two backup interior defensive linemen. I don't think he's a world beater. I don't think he's a great player, but I think he's a serviceable player, and I like the mindset he has, former Super Bowl champion. I'd bring Nacho back. This will be another very big decision that Joe Schoen is going to have to make this offseason. What is he going to do with a guy like Xavier McKinney? I think McKinney's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. And I have a feeling he's going to want great player money. And I'm not paying him great money. I'm keeping him for the right price. I'll tell you this much. These are the highest paid safeties in the National Football League, the top 10 guys. I'm not even paying him half that much money. I'd give you $7 million, and that's it. How much better is he than a guy like Julian Love? Julian Love has struggled in Seattle, but he started to turn on as the season goes on. I think Xavier McKinney is good. I don't think Xavier McKinney is great. Pro Football Focus likes Xavier McKinney, and maybe just because he's a safety. I don't notice some of the things he does unless when I watch film, he doesn't pop off the screen. He's not an elite playmaker by any means, and he even against the Eagles, he couldn't guard Dallas Goedert in one-on-one situations. Scott's a good player, so that's a tough ask, but if I'm going to pay a safety a lot of money, I need him to be better than Xavier McKinney. I like him. I don't love him. I bring him back for the right price. How about like 3 years, $22 million, $7 million a year? That's the type of contract I would give him. I know there's a lot of X-Man believers in the Giants fans, and I agree why. I see why. Let me know what you think. Should they re-sign him? Why for yes and for no? Hottie, Jihad Ward will be a free agent, and I'd like to re-sign him. I think he's a good locker room guy. I think he's a leader. I think he's a captain. I think he exemplifies what it means to be a New York Football Giant. Re-sign him. 1 year, veteran minimum. Not anything more, though. Matt Breida, backup running back for the Giants the last 2 years. Let him walk. I respect Breida. I think he's a good player. I think he is a fine man. I don't need him on my football team for anything more than the veteran minimum, so I would let him walk in free agency. I think the Giants should draft another running back this year and have him and Eric Gray be the backups to Barkley after you franchise tag him. Long snapper, Casey Kreider. Bring him on back. Bring back the long snapper. He's always got a spot on my team. This one hurts a little bit for me. I'm a huge fan of Sterling Shepard. I really, really am. Longest tenured Giant on this team. I know a lot of people don't like Sterling Shepard, and I understand why. The injuries have been maddening. They've been frustrating. I just think it's time. They gave him a 1-year deal this year. Kind of out of sympathy, kind of out of respect, because I respect the hell out of him for how hard he works to come back from injuries. The juice is gone. The juice is gone. If you're not going to play him this year, why are you bringing him back next year? I think Sterling Shepard may retire after this year, and if he doesn't, he will be playing somewhere else and not Big Blue. Tyrod Davis, probably a name you haven't heard in a while. He got hurt in the preseason for the Giants. He's a free agent. I would let him walk. I like what you have in Micah McFadden. I love Bobby Okereke, and I would place a higher priority on bringing a guy back like Isaiah Simmons over Tyrod Davis. Matt Pear, offensive tackle. See, he can go. Has not worked out. Third-round pick out of UConn a couple of years ago. He's always hurt. He's no good. Get somebody else. Let him walk. We got more players to talk about, but first, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor of today's show, PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the promo code CLNS, and PrizePicks will match your initial deposit up to $100. Put $100 in your account. They'll match it. You'll have $200 to play with. PrizePicks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. And with a lot of NFL fantasy seasons coming to a close with Championship Sunday around the corner, no better time to start playing daily fantasy football than now. This is my lineup for this weekend's games. All you do is select more or less on the projected stat line for a player. I'm going with passing yards for quarterbacks this week. I think Matt Stafford is going to have a big game versus the Giants. I think Jordan Love is going to beat the Vikings and have a good game of his own. I'm going with more on both their yards. You could roll with my picks, fade my picks, but if you're going to play daily fantasy sports, I ask that you do it with PrizePicks and you use the promo code PrizePicks.com/CLNS. All right, next player, J.C. Hassenauer, the center for the Giants, interior offensive lineman, been hurt throughout the year. I'm going to let him walk. Darnay Holmes, slot corner for the Giants, who took a pay cut to remain for the team. He just doesn't play enough, and I would rather have we know who Darnay Holmes is. Loves to hold, can make some big-time plays, but I'm not giving him anything more than the veteran minimum, and I'd rather just draft a rookie or sign another guy that's maybe younger and has a little bit more potential to replace him. Ben Bredeson, do-it-all offensive lineman. Can play guard, can play center, can play guard. I'd bring him back on a one-year veteran minimum to be a backup. I don't want Ben Bredeson starting next year. If Ben Bredeson is starting on the offensive line, the Giants failed in the offseason. It's that simple. But I think he's a good guy to have on the bench and come off the pine because he can play guard and he can play center. He's versatile. I'd bring him back as a 6th or 7th offensive lineman on this team. Wyatt Davis, hurt, has not played in a long time. He can go. Shane Lemieux, former pick by the Giants out of Oregon. Injuries have derailed his career, and now he's not an NFL lineman anymore. He will not be back with the Giants. Nick McCloud, I like him a lot. He replaced Deonte Banks when he got hurt against the Eagles this past week. He could play corner on the outside. He could play slot, and he could play safety. Not a star, not a superstar. I would say a below average to an average player, but I like the versatility, and I'd bring him back. I think he's a good locker room guy. I think he's a good fit. Cam Brown, the special team specialist. 1-year veteran minimum. I'd bring him back. I thought Cam Brown's made some good plays on special teams this year. He's an intense gunner. He gets downfield. He's aggressive. He makes big-time plays. He's not afraid to hit somebody. What about that clothesline a couple of weeks ago? That was freaking sick. For that alone, I'd bring him back. But I do like having a special teams guy like him on this roster. And since I'm bringing Cam Brown back, I'm going to let Carter Coughlin walk. I respect Coughlin's game. I think he's a grinder. I think he's someone that plays hard. I think he's just a football dude. But it's a numbers game, and I would let him walk. I'd bring him back maybe in the sense of as a top 90 guy, and you're seeing if he can make the roster, but nothing more than a veteran minimum if I do. So we went through all the free agents the Giants will have to make a decision on. I told you who I'd bring back, what I would do, and so forth. So 2 other moves that I think that will be on the plate for Joe Schoen to make a decision on. Start with Mark Lewinsky. Mark Lewinsky could be cut this year by the Giants, and it would save New York $5.7 million. Mark, I appreciate you for your 2 years of service for the New York Giants, but your Giants career should 100% be done. He's a backup at this point. You don't pay backup offensive linemen over $7 million. Save the 5.7 and just push it to somebody else because Lewinsky is not that good of a football player. This one is a really tough decision for me. I've been saying for 2 years the Giants should cut Darius Slayton, and he's made me look really stupid, and I am happy that he has done that because that means if he plays good, the Giants are going to benefit. I think for the 3rd year in a row, Darius Slayton is going to end maybe in the 4th year in a row. He's going to end the season as the Giants' #1 wide receiver. Cutting Darius Slayton would save the Giants $6 million. $6 million. I'd keep him. I would keep him. I would keep him. I've been saying cut, but I'd keep him now. What do you think? Type K for keep, type C for cut. I see someone in the chat says Justin Pugh. I guess I missed Justin Pugh on that list. That's on me. I'm not bringing Justin Pugh back, and I think he is probably going to retire at this point. Look, you can always find veteran like that in week 2 or week 3 of the regular season. As always, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's show. If you haven't yet, give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, and we could talk more Giants football over there.